So in chapter 23 of Williams Obstetric, there are several abnormalities that lead to a slow progression of labor. And the first one is dystocia. So that's difficult labor or slow progression of labor. When we think of dystocia, we got to think, okay, is baby in good position? Does mom have good information from brain to uterus? Is her pelvis opening? Are the muscles too tight? Can she actually get this birth canal open, right? Or is there something going on with the fetal positioning? So let's talk about power. So power is the uterine force. So how is the uterus getting information? The uterus gets information from the brain. Specifically, it gets information from the mid-thoracic spine. So think mid-thoracics. Mid-thoracics is kind of where we have kind of like our curve right here, kind of where bra line hangs out. So that's our mid-thoracic. That gives the uterus its sympathetic innervation. So sympathetic, think fight or flight. So when the uterus needs to contract, it's getting its information from this region of the spine. When the uterus needs to relax, it gets its information from the sacrum, right? So from S2 particularly, it tells the uterus to slow down, to take a break. So when moms are in labor, they will go through these waves of contraction. And if you've ever been a part of labor, if you've watched labor, if you have labored yourself, you will know these waves that I'm talking about. So oftentimes when the uterus is not dancing well, or if it's abnormal, if it's firing funky and things are not going well, or things are like it's going and then stops, and it's going and stops, or it doesn't progress, that's because the innervation to the uterus itself is funky itself. So the function of the uterus is dependent on nerve innervation, right? That is a small, hollow, muscular organ that receives information from the brain. When clients present to me because of X, Y, or Z, it's often because there is a pattern in one of these areas, specifically moms. There's usually a pattern. You're either locked up in your mid-thoracic or your sacrum itself is in a funky pattern, which is it can cause, right, a dystocia to take place. So brain to body connection, right? So we talked about the nervous system from lower thoracics and the sacrum. This is really important to have good motion here, to have good proper range of motion so the brain can talk to the uterus, so the uterus can have these signals and then perform its job. Again, if you're just now catching on or dropping on, if you go to my Zoom, you can see the slides that I'm referencing. Power refers to the muscle's function, and the nerve supply, the chiropractic adjustment addresses just this, right? Dr. Mo says if you adjust the spine, you change the brain, and you change someone's brain, you can change their life. So a lot of moms don't realize this, but you can prepare for birth, right? You can prepare for a very powerful birth if you get to know your spine, if you get to know your sacrum, if you get to know your thoracic spine. So by coming to the chiropractor, you're intimately preparing for birth. You're preparing your uterus to have good information, good feedback to and fro the body. So that's power. So let's talk about passage. So the passage is this, right? So the birth canal, the bony pelvis, right? So the pelvis is designed to move. A lot of women have been told your hips are too small for a baby. You've got to have a cesarean, or you've had this, or you've had that. Just know all of our pelvises are different, and women do have different shaped pelvises. The bowl itself can be different shaped. However, you were designed to birth. So I wouldn't, if somebody says, hey, your pelvis isn't big enough to birth, I would say I would get a different opinion. So abnormalities of the maternal bony pelvis can play a role in how the baby is hanging out and how the baby will then exit the birth canal. So if the sacrum, so the sacrum is this triangle bone, if the sacrum is stuck, right, against its ilium, or if the ilium itself, so the hips, are rotated, right, it's going to affect, right, it's going to affect what's going on with the birth canal. So if a mom has a stuck sacrum or a stuck hip, and she tries to go, or she goes into labor and dystocia goes down and baby can't get out, it could be because, hey, these muscles are so tight, it's not allowing you to open up, or maybe you have really intense hip pain or back pain or butt pain. This is a clue, or this is a body signal that your body could be worked on, and chiropractic could play a role. Any contraction of the pelvic diameters that diminish the capacity for the pelvis can create dystocia during labor. So again, think about if your ilium is rotated, boom, smaller birth canal. If your sacrum is nutated, boom, smaller birth canal. Positions that moms get in, if you're laying on your back, right, that closes the birth canal by like 30%. So if you're laying on your back, boom, this closes the birth canal. You cannot get baby out. So that's why if you ever watch a woman birth on her own terms, it's primal, right? She's getting into different positions. She is finding a position that allows her birth canal to open. If you've birthed at the hospital and they've told you to remain on your back, or say you get an epidural and they say you can't get off your back, that is closing your birth canal by up to 30%. So that's already making it more difficult for baby to exit or enter into this world. This is from chapter 21 in Williams Obstetrics. The further state that the diameter of the woman's pelvis is decreased when the sacrum is displaced can create dystocia. So again, the sacrum is a massive bone that we pay attention to with Webster technique, and really with a lot of the techniques that I play with, we play around with where is the sacrum, how is it hanging out. Again, remember, sacrum gives the uterus its parasympathetic innervation, so it tells the uterus to relax when it needs to relax. It is a muscle, it is an organ, it's a hollow muscular organ, so it will receive autonomic information from this region, so you can't control that. So if your body is in a funky pattern, if it's holding tension, you cannot control how that works. But if you prepare your pelvis, if you start to prepare your body for birth, then when those things go down, when contractions and labors go down, this will actually allow your body to open. So shifts in the center of gravity forward and upward, destabilize posture and distribute weight and forces through joints, muscles, bones, predisposing the nerves and tissue to damage and compensation. Most individuals come to the chiropractor because there's a pain pattern present. If we can start to view chiropractic as a strategy versus a reactive care model and more of a proactive care model, a lot of this can be mitigated. So let's talk passage. So passage, well, we're still talking passage. Adjustments to the sacrum, lumbar spine, and ilium, as well as unwinding or activating muscles that attach to these structures, is exactly what chiropractors do during the adjustment. So every time you get adjusted, unfortunately, you might not feel great afterwards, right? Your body might feel more discomfort. Ideally, you don't, but sometimes that happens when you're doing body work. It's an expressive art. It's an expressive healing modality. So sometimes we're not here to suppress symptoms. We're here to express symptoms. So adjusting these areas allow the body to start to unwind itself and prepare itself. Again, if you're just hopping on, I've got PowerPoint slides if you want to check it out. So passenger is our next P. Talk about where the passenger hangs out. So think of the uterus, right? So think of the uterus as a tethered balloon into the sacrum and into the pelvis. Since the uterus is tethered in there, think of this. Think of a hot air balloon, right? And the hot air balloon has tethers down. Think of those tethers as a couple of your ligaments. One is your uterosacral ligament. The other is your round ligament. So round ligament attaches from belly into the pubic bone. Boom, pubic bone. Uterosacral ligament attaches from the anterior portion of the sacrum to the posterior portion of the uterus. So the uterus is suspended in space, right, via these ligaments. So if my hips are funky, if I have tension patterns in my muscles that cause me to contort or distort like this, you got to think, all right, well, if uterus is connected to me, my uterus may distort. It may contort. And when uterus contorts and distorts, who's in the uterus, right? The baby's in the uterus. So if the baby is in the uterus and there are these funky patterns going on, then the baby may start to get crunched to one side. Maybe the baby starts to rotate. Maybe the baby starts to go into these positions that are not ideal for, I'm not going to say they're not ideal for birth because it is a physiological birth. However, if the baby gets into a contorted position, it can cause abnormal strain or aberrant strain on the body. Chiropractors, first and foremost, do not flip baby. All right, so I'm not here to flip a baby, right? So a lot of moms come to me because they're breech or baby's transverse, and their midwives or their OB says, maybe go get some body work done. First and foremost, I do not flip a baby. However, when we work with and balance the structure, so think of the glute muscles that attach to this, think of the belly muscles, think of the round ligament, the connective tissue. Once we start to tonify and bring more harmony to the system, the baby and the body want to find an ideal position. That's just the job. That's the nature of our body. We want to find ease. And so when these structures are balanced, the baby will find ease or can find ease easier. So we talked about the uterosacral ligament, the round ligament, sacral subluxation. So again, think of this bone at the end. Think of this triangle bone. Sacral subluxations or fascia connective tissue tension on belly may contribute to an imbalance in the uterus, leading to and restricting the baby from getting into the best position for birth. Chiropractors help restore normal tone to smooth muscles that connect uterus to pelvis. Adjustments help balance the mom's pelvis and surrounding tissues, while the wisdom of the body finds harmony and may appear to encourage baby to find the correct position. So moms, I want you to remember, I had an awesome conversation with mom today, and I was asking her about her birth plan, and she said her husband's going to be there and he has a lot of trust in the body. Moms, dads, birth partners, doulas, midwives, trust the body. The body will get this baby out, right? Oftentimes when moms feel pressured or when moms feel like things are starting to pile up, it's because we're on somebody else's time zone or we're on somebody else's time. If you just trust your body, if you get in tune with your body, if you start to know your body before the dance of labor goes down, your body will birth a baby. I guarantee it. So power passage passenger, if there's any questions, let me know. I'm going to continue on to the Webster technique. I'm going to like play around with this screen for a second because I have no idea if I'm even in Zoom right now. I think I'm still in Zoom. Cool. No. Cool. All right, so we're going to talk Webster technique. The Webster technique, if you've never, so a lot of people that come to me because their baby is breached or because they've heard that Webster technique can be really powerful for pregnant moms or postpartum moms. Why is the Webster technique so important and why is it specific? So here's the deal. The Webster technique is an analysis. It's a gentle adjustment to the sacrum and surrounding structures. Its intent is to improve nervous system tone, right? So the body can function better. My intent is never to take away your pain, although that would be awesome. And although I want that for you, my intent is not to like adjust away your pain. My intent is for your body to find balance. And when your body finds balance, often these pain patterns subside and they start to integrate themselves. The Webster technique focuses on the osseous structure, so the bone itself, so the sacrum and the ilium. It also focuses on the spine itself. It focuses a lot on the soft tissue, so think muscles, glute muscles, piriformis muscles. It focuses on the sacrotuberous ligament, a ligament that attaches from the sacrum to the ischial tuberosity. And then on the front side, it focuses on the pubic bone. So this bone right here, a lot of moms will get like a sharp stabbing pain. It focuses on the psoas muscle. The psoas muscle is a hip flexor. So here's your back. This is your lumbar spine. The psoas muscle attaches to the front of this, wraps into the ilium itself, and then wraps around to the leg itself. So the leg can move out and can flex. That's a psoas muscle. A lot of moms will get up and they'll be like, oh, it hurts to get up. That's your psoas muscle, most likely contracted, overcontracted. And then it focuses on round ligament, pubic bone, psoas muscle, fascia, right? Connective tissue fascia on the belly and the diaphragm, right? You got to think babies in here, you're growing, moms are growing this way. Most likely their shoulders are going this way because the breast engorgement and breasts are getting bigger. Their low back is taking a strain. So we allow this area to start to open so that moms can feel better in their body. Chiropractors are all so different. So if anybody's watching this and you've seen a chiropractor, or if you've come to me, you've probably realized that no chiropractor ever A, adjusts the same, or B, does the same exact flow. So if you are interested in chiropractic, if you're interested in Webster technique, do your research, right? Call the docs, ask for a consultation, ask them to explain things to you, ask them if you could watch their adjustment process. Your chiropractor will play a role in your health and healing. So if you don't vibe with your chiropractor, then most likely you won't get better. So make sure you vibe with your chiropractor. Common questions. So here are some questions that I often get from moms. One is, my baby's not breached. Why should I come to you? It's ideal to come to a chiropractor before you're in pain. So if you think of this as a proactive, reactive, we live in a Western world where things are reactive, meaning we often react to situations, right? We react to pain versus being proactive. In China, a lot of times, this is going back ancient times, but a lot of times every family had a doctor, and that doctor would come every couple of weeks to check on the family, not because anybody was in pain, but just to make sure everybody's functioning well. And if a family member got sick, that doc, right, that ancient doc was held liable for that. So if you think of your body and you think of chiropractic as a proactive approach, you're going to have much better results than being reactive with your chiropractic care. So a lot of times I see moms because baby's breached. So I love helping moms when babies are breached. I love helping moms, like, even if, no matter where, if they're in the third trimester, I love it. It's awesome. At that time, we're going to have a more intensive care because I haven't seen you. I don't know your body. We're going to have to work a little bit more for your body to start to find ease. So if you're thinking about pregnancy, if you're thinking about becoming pregnant, that is an ideal time to come to a chiropractor. Because we can start preparing the body for this dynamic shift. We can start educating you on things to be eating, things to be how you can be moving, and certain mindset applications that you can start applying to your to this process. All right, so once baby gets, so say you come to me because you're breached, and we address your body, and baby finds ease, right? Baby finds its way back down, head down. Do you need to keep coming? I would say yes. You don't have to do anything, but I would say yes, because this is a sport, right? And so you don't just go to your trainer right before your track meet. You should go often to your trainer to make sure things are moving well and staying well. So I'd say yes, you should keep coming. Should you come after you give birth? So here's where I often talk to parents about this. Absolutely, I think babies should get checked. Does every single baby need to be checked? I think yes, because every baby was in position, in flexion, and we want baby to open. We want midline to open so baby can feed and breastfeed and express themselves best. And if they were stuck here and they had maybe a traumatic birth, because here's the deal. If you're coming out of birth canal, that's pretty intense, right? For mom and baby. If baby's coming out of belly, that's even more intense, right? Their head's getting rotated and pulled. So yes, I think all babies should be checked. Do all babies need to be adjusted all the time? Definitely not. But if we can find ease and we can tonify their body and open up midline, then baby should be good. However, when moms ask, do I need to come after birth? Here's what I say. I say you stay home as long as you need to and guard your baby and guard yourself and make sure you're safe, make sure you're healing well. Postpartum healing happens when you lie down, right? It happens when you snuggle with your baby. It happens when you feel safe. So if you feel like you have to do all these appointments, don't do it. Right? Because that's too much stress on your body, and your body's just going to say it. So don't come if you're too stressed. But if you're having trouble breastfeeding, if baby's having trouble going to the bathroom, if baby's having trouble latching, these are really good signs. These are signs that your baby should be checked either by a lactation consultant and or by a chiropractor, pediatric specifically. Moms, you got to realize after birth, your body just got stretched quite a bit, right? You opened quite a bit. You opened this portal to birth this baby. And so what I would say is slow down. If you can slow down postpartum, slow down. If you don't have the help, ask for it, right? Either call us up and we'll help you, or reach out on social media pages for help. Moms love helping. So ask for help if you need help. Usually I tell moms to take it easy the first 30 days. And if they can get in after that, then we should check them. Open discussion. If anybody has questions, let's ask them now. I'm going to look through Zoom really quick. I don't even know how to work Zoom, so I'm not going to do Zoom again. But if you were on Zoom, you would see all these PowerPoints. I am going to upload all this to YouTube, so this will be up on YouTube and up on my website at some point within the next week or so. Main topics that we talked about: power, passage, and passenger. So power is the uterus. The uterus is a small, hollow, it's a dynamic muscular organ, hollow muscular organ that receives innervation from the brain, the core, the mid-thoracic, and the sacrum itself. So when the uterus contracts, it needs to have good information from the thoracic spine and the sacral spine. Chiropractic addresses those areas and helps moms find that area within their body. The passage itself is the bony pelvis, right? So how is your pelvis moving? Moms, if you're in discomfort during pregnancy and or pre-pregnancy, say you have low back pain or hip pain before you even get pregnant, go to a chiropractor, right? Find somebody that can work with your pelvis to start balancing it so that when baby starts to get big and starts to put pressure, your body will know where to go. Passenger is the baby itself. So as the fetus grows, as the uterus gets bigger, as tension patterns develop, things may contort. And when things contort, there's a push and pull in opposite and opposed direction. So if we can balance the outside structures, then baby can ideally find optimal position for birth. Just remember, a baby being breached is not abnormal. It's a physiological birth. So it can go down and it can be beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't be like so freaked out when somebody says your baby's breached. Just say, okay, cool. I'm going to work with my body. I know I have time. I know my body has wisdom to have my baby find ideal position. Webster Technique is a beautiful technique. It's a gentle technique. It is a specific technique. Anybody can rub on bellies and anybody can adjust sacrums, but if you're not working with a Webster certified chiropractor, I would highly recommend it. As we know certain techniques, there are certain areas that we go to that are more specific than others. and it can make a big impact. I just had a mom message me. She had her baby. she was scheduled for induction, but then her body was like, "Yep, we're going to do this ourselves." She had baby beautifully, and she messaged me and said, I saw her all throughout pregnancy, and she said, thank you for the care. Like, through your care, like I very much felt empowered to birth this baby on my own. So if anything, right, connecting with a chiropractor can allow you to feel empowered and to have an autonomous birth. And that's the biggest thing I want all my moms to have, is an autonomous birth, whether you choose to have an induction, whether you choose to do cesarean, whether you choose to have natural at home unassisted, as long as it's your choice, I'm here to support you. Thank you for taking this time. I'm going to get off. If you have specific questions, let me know, message me. I appreciate everybody watching this.